Hello, everyone. It's Realtor Toni Patterson here, and today I am with Andrew Alvey. Andrew works for the City of Durham as the Durham Down Payment Assistance Program Administrator, and I'm so excited that he has taken some time out of his super busy schedule to tell us how to utilize up to $80,000 worth of down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. And so, Andrew, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'll just let you get at it.
Cool. Well, thank you, Tony. Again, my name is Andrew Alvey. I'm with the City of Durham's Down Payment Assistance Program. We offer up to $80,000 or 25% the sales price of the home, whichever is less. We'll kind of get into that. I have a little slide. To residents or to applicants who are under 80% the area median income, AMI. If you have questions about that, I think Tony will probably be able to answer. But again, if you guys have general questions, you can always reach out to the city or to the lender. And we offer this to, again, people under 80% AMI and who are looking to purchase a home within the City of Durham limits. So those are really the only big qualifiers with the program. You have to be a first-time home buyer as well. And the actual definition of first-time home buyer is someone who has never owned a home or someone who has not owned a home within the last 3 years. So if you have owned a home 4 years ago, guess what? You qualify. It's pretty cool. So we're just going to go through a quick overview. There's 2 slides, nothing too crazy. Should answer most of the questions. And I think afterwards, Tony has a few questions that she's heard, like frequent questions that I can answer. So again, the City of Durham, get this out of the way. First, we need to understand, we understand what the program, what the goals are, but let's understand the qualifying properties, how to be eligible, and the funding associated. So that's this first slide. So qualifying properties, again, has to be within City of Durham limits. If you guys are looking for a property and you don't know if it's within city limits or not, Tony can help with that. I've sent her over a map that you can plug in the address, and I think you can also filter it on her software. It has to be an existing property or newly constructed. Really don't think too much into this term. It's mainly thrown in there because we don't allow construction loans, meaning this money cannot go towards someone purchasing an empty lot and then building a home, right? We can't wrap up the cost of the purchase and the construction. And also the home has to be under home sales price limits. So something you'll see is we have a lot of terminology associated with different federal programs, which makes one think that this is a federally funded program. It's not. However, we set these guidelines kind of just to be similar with all our other programs, which are federally funded, to just keep things easier. All the funds from this program do come from the Durham Future Home Initiative. So they're just it's local money. But those home sales price limits as of 2024, and they'll probably be updated, I would think, within the next 3 or 4 months, are for an existing home, $366,000, or for a newly constructed home, $381,000. So these funds, these DPA funds, apply to any homes that are at or below that number. And again, that number will be updated in the coming months by the federal government. And I would assume it's going to jump up a good bit because all these values come from taking the median sales price value in the specific area. And if you guys know anything about the market in America, let alone Durham, it's gotten very, very hot, not hot, very high recently. So you'll probably see those numbers jump up a bunch. After that, the qualifying property, okay, how do I know as an applicant if I should even take the time to apply to go to a lender? Well, one, you got to make sure you're under 80% the area median income. AMI sounds like a big term. All it means is the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD is how you normally hear them called. They will go through all these different areas in the country and list the median income associated with that area for the household size. Meaning they would say something along the lines of a household size of 3 in Durham, the median income is, I believe it's 80 something thousand. Don't quote me on it. We have an actual graph on our website. But let's say it was $80,000, you could, so long as you made under 80% of that $80,000, you would qualify for the program. Just for those people who don't like math, let's make it a little bit simpler. Let's say it's a family of 5 and the median income is $100,000. So long as you made under $80,000, you would qualify for the program. And again, the graphs, there's a graph or chart on our website, along with when you go to the lenders, they will check your income. So don't allow confusing terms, or even if you think you might make over the 80% to prevent you from going to these lenders, because their sole job is to work with you and to explain all these different terminology. And that kind of points back to a thing I probably should have communicated in the beginning. This is a city program, and we as a city mainly work with the lenders rather than you as the app, rather than working directly with you. So the lender is almost this middleman in between us and you. So throughout this whole program, you as the applicant are mainly working with that first lender, and that first lender is then, think of it like a branch off point, is then working with the city, is then working with other deep down payment assistance programs in order to get you as much funding as possible. So that kind of goes to show how important it is that you pick a lender that is willing to work with you, and a lender who is knowledgeable of all the programs which you may qualify for. So second, I already mentioned this, but you have to be a first-time home buyer. All that means is you have not owned a home in the last 3 years. And then third, you have to use the home for your primary residence for the length of the forgivable period, which is 15 years, and we can get into it right here. So funding, again, I already mentioned this, but up to $80,000 or 25% of the sales price of a home. All that means is in order to fully access the $80,000, it would have to be at least 25% of the sales price of a home, meaning the home sales price would have to be $320,000 or more in order to access that full 80, because 25% of $320,000 is $80,000. You go down in the sales price value, then you're going to go down in the total dollar amount, but your percentage is still going to stay the same. Now, there's some underwriting, and all underwriting means is when you meet with a lender, they're going to look at your income, your household size, and compare it with our guidelines, their guidelines. That's all underwriting is. There are some other guidelines which determine how much of that 25% you can get. And we're going to get into a little bit more in the next slide, but don't get too overwhelmed or anything, because there's a lot of ratios, a lot of math. This is a lender's job, remember? So again, always just go to the lender and see what happens. Regarding the funding, it almost sounds too good to be true. $80,000 of what? Is it free? Do I pay it back? Is it a grant? Is it a loan? Is it just money from Andrew's pocket? It's not the last. I wish. That'd be pretty cool. No, it's a 15-year deferred forgivable loan. All that means is it's forgiven 1/15 each year that you reside in the home as your primary residence, right? So let's say you move into the home, you get the full $80,000, and you stay in the home for 7.5 years, right? And you're still in the home. Well, in that 7.5 years that you've stayed, you have been forgiven 40,000 of the 80,000 you originally received, because 7.5 is half of 15, right? Now, you can continue, you can leave the home whenever you want, right? But every year you stay in the home, you are building more equity in the home, right? More and more is forgiven, meaning when/if you go to sell your home, you are able to potentially pocket more money. So really a good program. And the 15-year length is a little bit longer than other DPA programs like Greensboro or I believe Raleigh, but it's because Durham is really pushing for people to come and live and stay in Durham.
Right.
And to make up for that 15-year loan, we offer so much more money than My knowledge of Wake, I'm not 100% sure, 100% certain of Raleigh, but Greensboro, I think their maximum is 25,000, and we offer $80,000. So with only 5 more years of a loan, so not too bad.
And I feel like in Wake County, I saw maybe 45 as the highest.
Really,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost double Wake County.
Yeah.
Come to Durham.
Yeah. Come to Durham.
Yeah, and make sure Tony's your realtor. That's not
Absolutely.
an endorsement of the city, Mr. Andrew. Mr. All right. So those were the general, I guess, like qualifying guidelines. This slide, again, don't allow it to, if it gets too confusing, honestly, just tune out, right? Because you'll go over it with the lender. Don't allow it to confuse you to the point you're not going to participate in the program. So in underwriting, when you're comparing individuals or applicants' incomes, you're looking at ratios. All a ratio is something divided by something else gives me percent. And in residential underwriting, you have, sorry, someone knocked on my door. The one time someone needs me, right?
It happens that way.
Yeah. So in underwriting, you have in residential home loan underwriting, you have two big ratios that you're always going to hear people talk about: your front end ratio and your back end ratio. All this means is a front end ratio is how much money you make before taxes each month compared to how much your estimated monthly mortgage payment is going to be. Okay. So a typical ratio for affordable housing based off HUD is under 32%. All that means is in order for a house payment or a mortgage to be considered affordable, it has to be at or below 32% of how much money you make per month before taxes, right? The back end ratio is comparing your monthly income before taxes to your estimated monthly mortgage and all other monthly reoccurring debt, car payments, student loan payments, etc. Right? That number has to be at or below 45%. And again, you guys don't have to do this math on your own. A lender will do all this. One big thing, or really three big things to note are one, an applicant must contribute at least $1,000 of their own money to this process, right? So that usually comes in the form of closing costs. That's when you pay the fees associated with the attorney, filing documents, so on and so forth. At least $1,000 of your own money has to go towards that. Now, there is a common question of can DPA funds be used to cover those closing costs? Yes, under the assumption that you're putting at least $1,000 of your own money towards it, right?
Okay.
The next is liquid assets. If you have any liquid asset over $25,000, that amount over, meaning let's say you have $30,000 in the bank, that 30 minus 25 is 5,000. That $5,000 must be put towards the purchase of the home. Now, this is only liquid assets. Mainly think of it as cash in the bank or any income you receive from various income producing elements. It doesn't count retirement or stuff like that. Another big thing, and this is a change, I think it was changed in our first or third amendment, there are no layering limits. All that means is you can use other DPA sources, other DPA funds, combine it with ours, and get as much money as possible towards your home. So a big one is North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. They offer various programs that you can combine with ours and with maybe your lender has a specific program to now you have this $350,000 sales price, and let's say you get $100,000 of down payment assistance. That's only $250,000 you're then having to pay at a high percentage. And this money and these programs are all a little bit different, but in general, most down payment assistance programs are either deferred forgivable like ours, meaning you don't make a payment on it, right? It's just forgiven. But you will have to pay it again if you move out before that period, pay off the portion that's left. Or it's maybe a 30-year loan at 0% interest, right? So down payment assistance is intended to lower the cost as much as possible of purchasing a home, and those costs associated with getting a mortgage and getting the interest associated with a mortgage. So just to put this in perspective, I did the calculations, and if someone were to, I believe it's $320,000 home, and they got the full $80,000 from us, they save over $150,000 over the life of their loan, 30 years, just because they got the $80,000 from the city.
That's amazing.
Mhm. And that's not even counting if you guys make extra payments and stuff. That's just counting a $320,000 house. I think I had it at 6.8 or 7% interest,
Mm-hmm.
and taking $80,000 from the city. So if you layer it with other DPA programs, you have the potential to save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the length of a loan. That's why this stuff, and not a lot of people know about it, but when you do know about it, you should take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the city, we do not set any credit limits. There's no floor, meaning you have to make above this. You have to have this above this credit limit, above a 600. You'll see sometimes, and we have no ceiling. Like you have to be below 750 or something. We just allow the first lender to determine those that criteria. So if the first lender approves you based off credit, then we're approving you based off credit. That's kind of the general rundown of the whole program. The next steps that one would need to do, again, because remember, the city is mainly working with the lenders, not with the actual applicants.
Mm-hmm.
The next steps would be to reach out to the lenders on our approved lender list, which you can find on our website. And Tony, I can probably shoot you links and maybe hyperlink it or something with wherever you're sending this.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yep, go on that list, look at those approved lenders. It is February 27th today, and we plan to have that list updated with more lenders by the end of this coming month, by the end of March. So if you go on there and you see some lenders, just know some more are coming down the pipe. And one thing I always tell people is when you're going to look at these lenders, make sure you reach out to a couple just to see who's willing to work with you and who's willing to go that extra mile. Essentially, you're trying to find the lender version of Tony, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you want to make sure someone is knowledgeable of the other down payment assistance sources that are available within North Carolina. You don't want someone who just knows about the DPA. Why? Because there's other funding out there that you can pair with ours, right? Put yourself in the best position to succeed. But that's kind of all I have, general overview. I know Tony had a couple questions that I'd be more than happy to answer, but I just want to take this time to thank you guys for, taking your time out of your day to watch this, and congratulating you on the first steps of being a future homeowner.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Andrew, for doing this. I know you've worked with me and sat down with a couple of clients of mine, and so I was like, "Hey, let's record this," and you were so gracious and being able to do this. A couple of questions I have because we've run into those. What if I have a buyer who had previously been approved from a lender who was not on that list? Are they able to still reach out to a lender on your list to kind of start over, so to speak, to qualify for this program?
Oh yeah. So in that scenario, they would probably have two options. One, they
Mm-hmm.
could reach out to one of our approved lenders and restart the whole process. Or two, they could let the lender they're approved by know about our program.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have a lender interest form on our website that
Mm-hmm.
that lender can fill out, attend a training, and now they're approved lender. That's
Okay.
probably the longer route. So I
Yeah.
don't know if someone would want to wait, but it is an option.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And then just to make sure everybody is clear about what type of house or housing they can look for with regards with on this program. All right. I'll just give you a list and you say yes or no. Okay. So a single family home.
Yes.
Okay. A townhouse,
Yep.
a condo.
I will let you know, but I would assume yes.
Okay.
Wait, I have this in my gut. Mm, I will confirm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about like a duplex or multifamily for A fourplex, a triplex, or a duplex?
Well, let me just pull out these guidelines real quick and I'll tell you
Okay.
yes or no. Okay.
Because
Oh, and I
people
didn't
get
add the caveat, everyone who's watching before I started. I started 1 month ago. So it's this thing
no,
called
that's
grace.
fine. But people get, creative when
Yeah.
you have opportunities. You want to make the most of it. So I just want people to understand what this actually qualifies for.
I'm glad you asked this question though, because it is the one that I've gotten so far that I don't know off the top of my head. And I know it's in here. I just don't know which page. No, it's not going to be there. It's going to be bad. Property standards. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just going to read you off the list of the
Okay.
ones which they approve. So, single family may include single family houses, naturally,
Hmm.
manufactured homes affixed to the ground, detached and attached townhomes,
Okay.
and condominiums.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. That covers a very wide gamut, but nothing for like the potential investor. So that's good to know. Let's see. Just to confirm, is this a grant program or a loan program?
It is a loan, right? So
Okay.
there is a lien on the home. And
Okay.
when I say lien, for those who don't know, all it means is when you go to when you borrow money to purchase something, the
Hmm.
collateral, the thing that sits as a potential repayment of the person who lent you money, in this case, is a house. Uh, Legally, the person who lent you money has the right to, if you don't make your payments, to collect that amount of money they gave you by taking that home, right? So there's a lien on the property. Now we're not in first position. This is kind of getting a little bit
Yeah,
overly
yeah.
complicated, right? But we're behind the first lender.
Okay, sounds good. And I know a lot of the home buyer assistance programs, they require you to take a class or some sort of financial counseling. Are those types of requirements necessary for this program?
Yes, we do require an 8 hour HUD approved class. There's a
Okay.
bunch of, we don't provide the class ourselves, but there are a lot of different organizations that provide it, and they're usually very low cost or free.
Okay. And do you have a list of those by chance?
I don't. I would think that the lenders on our list most likely provided themselves. They're
Okay.
usually HUD approved counseling, and if not, they will have people that they send individuals to, because they don't only use that HUD requirement is not just for us; it's for any program that is federally funded or most likely
Mm-hmm.
state funded as well. So most of these lenders should have people lined up. But
Okay.
if they don't, just reach out to us and we'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Okay, got it. And this may be more of a lender question, but are there any restrictions to the type of loan that you can get in addition to using the program? So, like, can you have a VA loan and still make use of the program, or a USDA loan, conventional? Like, are there any types of?
Good question. The only main like big no-nos I can think of, or
Mhm.
it has to be a fixed interest mortgage, right,
Okay.
for 30 years. So you cannot do a shorter term. You can't go from
Okay.
30 to 20. FHA, yes. VA, USDA wouldn't even work in Durham because we're city limits, and I believe USDA is
Good
more
point.
rural.
Yep, it sure
Um,
is.
Regarding VA, I wouldn't see why not, but I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay, all righty. Then I've got just a couple general ones. Are there any recapture clauses or repayment obligations? Can you just go over that again so people are clear, that if they sell before that 15-year point, they do need to repay
Yep.
whatever portions left I guess unpaid. I forget the term you guys
I
use.
guess you could say there's an actual term associated that escapes my
Yes.
mind, but in that forgivable period, right? So
Yes, yes, yes.
you have 15 years, your loan is forgiven. Let's make it super easy. Let's say you got $15,000 from the city. Most likely you're gonna
Hmm.
get more than that, but let's say you get $15,000 from the city. All that means is every single year you stay in the home as your primary residence, that $15,000 that you owe the city is reduced from 15 to 14 to 13 to 12 to 11 to 10, so on and so forth, all the way until you reach year 15. Let's say you only stay in the house for 10 years, right? So 15 years, $15,000, 10 years you stayed in, so you have 5 years left. 15 minus 10, you have $5,000 left that you owe the city. When
Hmm.
you go to sell your home, the attorneys do a title search and they look at all the liens. That's the term I referenced earlier on
Hmm.
the property and make sure that everyone on that property who has a lien on the property is paid off. Meaning these people, um, these lenders offer or lent money for this home. Well, we have to make sure that they get their money back before this home transfers to someone else, right? So in that case, that $5,000 would just be repaid from the sale of the property. Now I've got a kind of, I think sometimes people get confused thinking that this $5,000 has to come out of your pocket. Like, oh, I got to go find $5,000 somewhere. But
Right.
um, you got to remember you're sitting in a home that you've been paying the mortgage on for 10 years, right? So you bought it for 320, you've been paying that mortgage down. So now you owe less than 320 and the house is probably worth significantly more than 320. So let's just
Right.
say it appreciated $350,000. You already have $30,000 that you effectively made on that property, right? Been paying it off. And when you go to that 320 is now 350, you really owe everyone at this point, I don't know, $150,000 or $200,000. That 350 minus 200 is you would sell the home for 350, repay this 200,000, and you have that $150,000 is now your money, right? Because it's
Yeah.
your property. So when you're thinking about these things, it's kind of hard because you're almost shifting your mindset into a from a rent payer and like I'm just
Hmm.
paying money. This money allows me to live here and allows them to fix things. Like when I ask, that's it, right? When you pay a house money towards a house, allows you to live there. It doesn't allow you to fix things. You have to fix things on your own,
Yep.
but it allows you to own. Just think of it, a little bit more of that home is actually yours every single time you make a payment. A percentage of that home is actually yours every single time, and not the bank's.
That's exactly right, which is why I was so excited to hear about this. And then lastly, where does that down payment assistance come from? We know it's not a federal program. Can you tell us a little bit more about where the funding comes from?
Yep. A few years ago, the city of Durham started an initiative, Forever Home Durham,
Mm-hmm.
or yes, DHF, Durham Home Forever. They just reverse it. But they started a program that really focused on bringing on one, increasing the availability of affordable housing, and two, increasing the quality of affordable housing. We're
Mm-hmm.
focused on the availability, right? We're trying to make more homes affordable. There's other programs that do the quality. So these homes are locally funded by local taxes, apportionments from different areas in the government. Now they still do have those. They come from the local government, but remember we're still putting those federal uh, caps on them and stuff
Mm-hmm.
just to keep it equal with
Right.
reporting, with auditing, and everything like that. But yes, they are local funds.
Okay, that sounds good. And we are so grateful to have them and to be able to open up, different opportunities for people who may not have them otherwise. So, again, Andrew, I appreciate your time and I thank you
Yeah,
so much for this, for all the conversations we've had, and for any future ones we'll have as well. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time.